Hold on. There we go.
All right.
We're up. All right. Hello, everybody. Just checking in on the app. We're about to send our push alert out to let more folks know. All right, we're sent. Here we go. Ready, Mia?
Let's do this.
I keep it right there.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All righty. Hello, everybody. Everybody just joining us. Adam Caskey here with Mia Montgomery, and we're just giving you a little update on these storms. We've got this initial batch moving in and the potential for some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour with this particular thunderstorm that you see up moving into Bernie as we speak. So this is the strongest thunderstorm that we have in our area at the moment. And I'm going to widen out first, put this into motion, give you a general idea of its speed. Hold on here. There we go. Okay. We're having a few issues here. Well, we'll see. Anyway. This little thunderstorm right here, this is moving through the hill country, came together. It started bowing out as it moved toward I-10. And when these bow out, instead of being straight and you get that little bow feature, that usually is an indicator that the winds have picked up a little bit. And with this one in particular, there's the chance of some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Now, notice a little bit of lightning with it, but not a significant amount. It's going to pack some heavy rainfall and then the potential for the wind. We don't expect hail with this thunderstorm that's moving into Bernie. Bernie, you're right on the leading edge of it. This is a severe thunderstorm headed toward Bergheim as well. Timing this out, Bernie, of course, it's moving in right now, but the leading edge of the wind hitting you at 8:10. Bergheim, you'll get it at 8:24. Comfort, it's moving in at the moment. Sisterdale, you'll get that leading edge in the first puff of wind at 8:15 p.m. And now we got this new scan, and the heaviest rain is just west of Bernie. Heaviest rain, maybe some non-damaging hail within these purple areas here west of Bernie. That you'll really notice when it falls because it's just loud more than anything. That's going to make it to downtown Bernie at 8:07 p.m. That's the latest scan with this. I'm going to time out some more communities that are downstream from this severe thunderstorm. We've got the warning in effect until 8:30 p.m. and that's for city of Bernie, Bergheim, Fair Oaks Ranch area, up to Comfort, Sisterdale, Kendall County, and this western corner of Comal County, and in Kerr County and even parts of Bandera County. You just have a little bit left of this storm. You're about to get on the back side of it, but the front side of it is where it's going to be the strongest. And let's put a track on this for folks that are living further downstream. And there's a big selection here for you. We're talking, well, we already mentioned Bernie 8:04, but then Geneva School 8:07, UTSA at 8:18. You'll get clipped by this next batch. I know you already had some rain at UTSA. This next thunderstorm is going to hit. Right now, not severe in San Antonio or Bexar County. Brandeis High School 8:19, Chavano Park at 8:23. Honey Creek at 8:24, along with Spector at 8:24. That's with that thunderstorm that's moving eastward. Spring Branch, you can expect the leading edge right there, Spring Branch, right at 281 in Spring Branch at 8:34 p.m. Shortly thereafter, Canyon Lake. As for New Braunfels, assuming this stays together, or at least whatever's left of it, whatever strength it would be, 8:54 p.m. in New Braunfels, right near I-35, part of New Braunfels. So that's what we have in terms of the severe thunderstorms. And it's this one severe thunderstorm here. We have had some severe thunderstorms closer to the Rio Grande earlier, and one that came flying out of Del Rio around 6 o'clock. That was a strong storm with some large hail near Bracketville. Right now we've got these two severe thunderstorms, including Cotulla, or these two warnings with this one storm, including Cotulla, and just outside of Dilley. That's with this thunderstorm that's pushing to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. These things are moving pretty fast. Our steering flow is very fast. There's the progression of that storm. This storm is going to hit Dilley. Dilley, you may not be included in the warning, but you're going to get hit by this storm, and you can expect it to be there, to be at your house momentarily. I mean, this is moving right into I-35. Dilley, Derby, you'll be affected by this, and especially Cotulla. Cotulla within the warning zone here. So LaSalle County, and mostly LaSalle County moving out of McMullen County. Other activity around Devine, I-35. Devine, Pearsall, Natalia, Lytle, Bigfoot, switching radars to get another look at these storms as they're moving eastward across I-35. More Bigfoot getting hit by this. This is garden variety action. It's loud. It's causing some wet roadways, of course, and good drought denting rain. None of this is severe here, just outside of San Antonio on I-35. The only severe storms we have are down near Cotulla, as we showed you, and then this severe thunderstorm warning here that does include Bernie, Comfort, Sisterdale, Bergheim, Fair Oaks Ranch, and that's until 8:30 p.m. More of a precautionary measure due to the potential winds within this storm. It doesn't mean we've measured winds at 60 miles per hour. It just means this storm is capable of potentially developing these winds of 60 miles per hour. And there we go. This is the leading edge of the strong winds. So you see this very defined line right here? This very defined line. I'm going to draw it. This line, that is the leading edge of the strong wind. And that is all headed eastward. All headed eastward. And that leading edge of the wind, we're looking higher up in the storm by a few thousand feet, but within a few thousand feet above us, we've got wind gusts around 70 miles per hour, 70 to 75 miles per hour winds a few thousand feet up. And sometimes those winds can then be translated down to the ground. So we could see some of those higher gusts at the ground, maybe up to about 60, 65 miles per hour. That's the rate. I mean, we're gonna have to reset our hand tracking here. Something's not totally right with this, but we can do that in a little bit. Either way, I'm gonna put this in motion, and then I'm gonna go over and reset this because it's a little off.
Yeah, so while Adam is doing that, just a couple of things. Also, we are streaming this live on YouTube, which I'm monitoring the chat. So if anybody has any specific questions that we can try and answer for you, head on over to our YouTube page, our KSAT News YouTube page. You'll see the live stream there, and you can type some of those questions in the chat box, and I'll be watching that as well. Also, KSAT Connect, we've gotten a few photos in. Just a few, though. After these storms pass you by and it's safe, if you have anything to show in terms of the weather conditions, whether it be the strong winds that move through. In some cases, we have seen some hail, especially out near Bracketville earlier this evening. Feel free to just upload those onto KSAT Connect. There's a little camera button on the bottom of your screen there on the weather app. You can do that very easily. And the last thing that I did want to mention is, yes, we did have some rain already push through parts of Bexar County. I've been checking TransGuide, and we do have really damp roadways in place too. So just be extra careful regardless on if you're seeing some of the stronger storms or not. We do have some of those damp roadways in and around at least San Antonio. And of course, those visibilities dropping the farther north and west as you go, where we have some of those stronger storms and heavier rain in place. What we're advancing through right now, which you can see is your future cast here. So we've kind of been anticipating a few different batches of activity here this evening. You can see this is the first one that your future cast is trying to pinpoint tracking eastward here, moving through the San Antonio area, moving into the eastern portions of our area, New Braunfels, approaching Gonzales, Floresville. Livonia, even down to the Kennedy area by about 10 p.m. This is going to continue working eastward. So by 11 o'clock, Karnes City, Gonzales, even your Shiner and Hallettsville out there in Lavaca County. This is going to continue working your direction. Expect some heavy rain. Not every storm is going to be severe, but they will likely be noisy. With that heavy rain, that lightning, thunder, maybe some strong winds here and there, and then potentially another batch of some of that activity moving in between about midnight to 2 a.m. for us here in San Antonio. The good news is most of that is going to be well east of town and even through much of our area by sunrise tomorrow morning, and then we're just left with some breezy conditions for our Saturday, Adam.
Yeah, and gusty this whole weekend. We'll have a lot of sunshine, but it's going to be gusty, especially on Sunday. I mean, it was wind gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. All right, here's the latest with the radar. Big picture here showing San Antonio starting to get a new batch moving in. This is basically the first of two batches. I know we've had a couple other showers, but I anticipate a little bit of activity to get clipped by it closer to midnight. That's near San Angelo right now. And that activity then could clip us later on tonight. But this is all we have to speak of at the moment. Right now, not widespread severe, but widespread rain and thunderstorms. Definitely disruptive weather, but not exactly the damaging weather for everybody. The main threat for damage is up from Bernie to Comfort over to Sisterdale. That's where we have our primary threat right now, and that's headed eastward. That's the leading edge of this Boeing segment just north of Bexar County. Leon Springs, you could even get clipped by some of these higher winds. You're just a few minutes away from it, Leon Springs. And here we go in Leon Springs. I'm going to try to time it out if you can get this to work. There we go. Time it out for Leon Springs, and we're at 8:17 p.m. for that leading edge. Bulverde. Leading edge of that heavy rain, 8:31 p.m., and that'll be the wind gust as well. That wind gust is at the front end of this thunderstorm and lasts for a little while. Smithson Valley, 8:42 p.m. You go over to Canyon Lake, and 8:47 p.m. on the west side of Canyon Lake. That's when you can expect this storm. Candelia, 8:27 p.m. would be your arrival time. Now, this storm stretches southward into Bexar County, but for now, the severe part of it, where the winds could be around 60 miles per hour, is just outside of Bexar County. But you'll really notice this storm in Helotes and Gray Forest, and even toward Alamo Ranch. You'll have the tail end of this storm moving through. We also have some heavy rain on the far west side of town, 1604 and Highway 90, McDonough.
And we had some people asking about Alamo Ranch, too, that area as well.
Yeah, right now, Alamo Ranch, you don't have that severe threat, but you'll have this thunderstorm the way it is right now, unless it changes between now and its arrival. And its arrival time for you is 8:28 p.m. 8:28 p.m. is about when you can expect it. And that arrival time is mainly going to be some heavy rainfall, a little bit of lightning and thunder. But right now, that portion of the storm isn't considered severe, but we still have 20 minutes, and these storms can change significantly in 20 minutes. So we'll be watching that and watching the south side of the storm. This is the main part of the storm that could cause any damage. So we look at the base velocities. Okay, and interesting. Looking at the base velocities, and this leading edge, this green line, that's the leading edge of the high winds. And that green line, it's moving right through Bernie. So that's the front edge of the strongest winds within this storm. When these storms start to bow out like that, then that's when they likely have the strong winds within them. So the wind of the primary threat here, it's not necessarily hail. Yes, a little bit of hail within this, yes, but the wind is the primary threat. So this area of wind, and notice how these blues are just north of Bexar County. This is where the heaviest and highest winds are, just north of Bexar County. And in turn, that's where the warning is in Kendall County and also moving into Comal County. As you get into Bexar County, we just have the greens, which indicate not as high of winds. So we're looking at a few, here, we'll put some numbers on here. So we'll do a comparison. About 76 miles per hour, a few thousand feet high in the sky. Keep that in mind. That's not at ground level. And then 45 miles per hour. So you see the difference here between the strongest part of the storm and the not as strong part of the thunderstorm that's moving into Bexar County, Alamo Ranch, Helotes, Leon Springs. And we just got our update, and that wind is blowing across I-10 between Comfort, Nelson City, Boerne, and even southward just toward Boerne Stage Airfield, almost toward Boerne Stage Airfield. Bergheim, you're only a few minutes away from this from the beginning of the wind, Bergheim. You're just a few minutes away from it. And 8:19 p.m. This is going to be in Bergheim. So that's the strong wind that we're watching. It's going to be pushing its way eastward. That's really the only severe storm that we have in the San Antonio area at the moment. But like we were talking about before, these storms can change rapidly, and that can obviously change our warning system. But right now it's just that storm moving through Boerne and then down to the south on I-35 from Dilley down toward Cotulla. Those of you up in the Boerne area, Kendall County, Comfort, once this is passed, go outside, check things out. Let us know on KSAT Connect, what the situation is, and if you have any little bits of damage or branches down or something like that, let us know. If there's any power outages, of course, we'll be monitoring those, and we can check out right now power outage totals, and luckily we don't really see anything around here. That's a good sign. Down to the south, we have a little bit closer to the Rio Grande and around Houston, some isolated outages, but we're really not seeing much for power outages, which is good. That's what we like to see. I think that'll change just because when you have lightning around in some of these winds, usually you get a few. I don't expect widespread outages, but you get a few. East of town, this is all scattered in nature. There are breaks in the rain, but there's some moderate to heavy showers. Moderate rain, Gonzales. This is an area where we saw over 7 inches of rain from the previous event, and now you're getting another hit. Luckily, we had several days of sunshine in between. This stretches all the way up to Bastrop, and this is headed toward LaGrange and even the city of Warda, little town of Warda, I should say. This next batch of heavy rain is not far from Warda. It's actually a few minutes away. Why do I mention Warda? We got a mountain bike race there this weekend. That's why I mentioned it. I'm the coach of a middle school mountain biking team. They're setting up the course right now. I got to keep them updated. Or they've been setting up the course all day, but they're camping out. Anyway, you're noticing a little bit of a change here with this part of the thunderstorm, and I'll put it into motion just to show you its progression eastward, and notice how its shape changes and turns into that bowing segment with the curved leading edge. I should say curved this way. The curved leading edge. There you go. That curved leading edge, that's moving eastward. And that's when this shows its strength and that it is getting stronger. So that's really the main concern. The high winds moving into Boerne. Now on the backside of it, Kerrville, you're fine. Medina, Pipe Creek, it's still heavy rain, but your wind threat is gone. The wind threat is just basically from Fair Oaks Ranch to Boerne to Sisterdale, and then heading towards Spring Branch, Fisher, Bulverde, New Braunfels, Smithson Valley as well. As for the heavy rain associated with this, because we have the heavy rain on the south end of it, and yeah, it's going to be a little breezy, but not as strong and not necessarily potentially damaging. I need to switch my view here because these are moving along so fast. We have to pick our view very carefully. But this right here, that segment of the heavy rain, a little bit of lightning and thunder with it, making it to the rim momentarily, 8:23, so very soon at the rim. Taft High School, 8:28. Johnson High School at 8:34. Northwest Vista at 8:35. I'm going to leave these up here because I'm going to change the ranking a little bit with some of these.
Sounds good. Yeah, while you do that, we have a couple people chiming in here to the YouTube live stream. We've got a viewer that's actually up in Boerne right now saying that the wind definitely is very, very strong. So some ground truth there for sure. We also had some people asking about the Luling-Gonzales area. So as of right now, as Adam was just talking about, you do have some of that scattered rain and some downpours near you. But in terms of the storms that are at least approaching Bexar County right now, you still have about an hour 15 to an hour 45 before that heads your way. I timed that out just a little bit ago, and in between about 9:15 to 9:45 is when that's going to head to your neck of the woods. And then also some folks chiming in from Pleasanton. So as of right now, Pleasanton, you've got a few heavier downpours just off to your south near Jourdanton. That's approaching I-37, but we'll need to monitor those stronger storms closer to Dilley that Adam was also just talking about to see if you get clipped by the far northern edge from that. But you still got at least another hour before that heads your direction. But definitely something we will be keeping track of as those move in from the southwest.
All right, there we go. Just tweaked it a little bit just so we could get a few more of those communities and neighborhoods that are farther downstream and give them a little extra warning time. But yeah, thanks for those updates. And on YouTube, thanks for the updates. It's always good because then we can chat. I'm looking at some TransGuide shots from around the city, and especially on the west side right now. They're showing the heavy rain and the road spray from this shower that's moving in right now. Divine, Lytle, Bigfoot, Somerset, this is all moving through, and this is just good soaking rain, to be honest with you. Down I-35 just south of 1604 before you get to Dilley and especially Cotulla. Cotulla, this is where it's problematic and potentially damaging thunderstorm around Cotulla. This thunderstorm here could have some winds up to 60 miles per hour, maybe even hail the size of quarters, so which 1 inch diameter, considered severe. That's with this thunderstorm right here. A little bit of purple in there could be some of the hail that's within the storm. Some lightning, of course, not an unusual amount. It's actually not as electrified as they can be, and that, as we've seen them, but enough to, of course, cause some power outages and whatnot. Not just the winds, but also the lightning down south down I-35.
And just another update for you, Adam. They did go ahead and extend the severe thunderstorm warning that's north of Bexar County. Still does not include Bexar County, but that now is moving into parts of Comal County near I-35.
Yeah, there's that new warning. That's until 9:15 p.m. For especially Comal County, but also we've got Blanco County and some points eastward, including over toward Wimberley in Hayes County. So that's that part of the storm with the strongest winds, and we can switch over to our base velocities to detect those winds because the Doppler radar detects motion toward and away from the radar, which is how we get the winds within it, and then the potential for rotation. No rotation here, just straight line winds, and those straight line winds should be starting to wrap up here in Boerne, but the leading edge of it here is the strongest part, and that leading edge, I'm going to time it out for the communities that are downstream, and hopefully we can get a better selection of cities here now that we changed some of our settings. It's moving, oh, it's moving fast. Hold on, let me redo that. It's moving so fast we have to make a big, wider view. Here we go. Okay, that's more like it. All right, so these are some of just the bigger communities. We'll narrow it down to some of the smaller ones. But Smithson Valley High School at 8:38 p.m., Canyon Lake at 8:50, Canyon Lake High School at 9:01, San Marcos at 9:19 p.m. Okay, so those are some of the main landmarks that are going to be downstream from this, but we can get a little bit closer, or that that are going to be getting it. And Bergheim, you're just minutes away. Bulverde, you're right on the edge of getting hit by this in Bulverde. You're right on the edge of it. And I'm going to time it out for you just to be safe, because Bulverde, 8:31 p.m. and Startsville, 8:50 p.m. That's the timing for this part, and that's the gustiest part of the thunderstorm, the wind gusts that could be 60 miles per hour, maybe even isolated a little bit higher within this bowing portion of the thunderstorm. And I mentioned this section. You see a lot of colors on the screen. I know there's a lot there. It's this area that we have right there. There we go. It's this area with the highest winds. So this area that I'm circling, this is where we have the highest winds, and it's all headed eastward. So in turn, it's this leading edge that will be noticed first as it moves in. It's that leading edge right there that's headed eastward, and you'll notice that first. So that's where the highest winds are within it. Back to just the traditional radar so we don't have all the confusing colors. Okay, here we go. And there we go. Back to radar. All right, back to radar right there. And widespread rain, but I also want to point out that what we have coming together farther to the north, we may have to switch radar sites, but from just outside of San Angelo, where we have more of a front that's moving in, more of a wind shift line. Can change the radars up there. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That's a better view of it. See, it stretches down toward Junction. So some of this activity could have further development and then clip us after the batch that we're dealing with right now. So that's another element that we're watching, but this line stretches northward and does have some severe elements farther to the north, but just that other last little hurrah that we could get from it later tonight, closer to midnight and a little thereafter as well. But for now, we're focusing on this activity that's moving through. It's garden variety for most of us, but not from Bernie to Bergheim, soon Bulverde, Smithson Valley, Candelia, Canyon Lake, even Blanco, Wimberley. You're on the track as well. Wimberley, 9:08 p.m. is when you can expect that in Wimberley, and that is the leading edge of the storm that's going to be moving in. That's where some of the highest gusts will actually be. And we can go through some of the main threats if you want in the future cast there, Mia.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the big thing. Of course, with this severe thunderstorm that we're monitoring north of Bexar County, not really a hail threat here. It's the wind threat that Adam's been talking about. We could see a few rogue wind gusts translate down to the surface upwards of about 60 miles per hour or so. We do have some eyes on the ground up there that I've seen jumping in the chat. So we'll continue to keep eyes on that. But still, with some of the storms that we saw earlier this evening out west near Bracketville, and even some of the storms farther off to our southwest right now near Cotulla, hail is an issue there. We could see some hail up to about quarter size. So that's something that we'll also be monitoring. Yes, some heavy rain certainly possible. We actually are already seeing that even with some of the storms that are moving in to Bexar County right now. So if you are out for any Friday night plans, or you're planning on hitting the road anytime soon, just know that there could definitely be some water buildup. So be careful there. And that's something that we're going to continue to monitor also for you. But as we take a look here at your Futurecast, the latest version, it's not going to be perfect, but it just gives us an idea of the forward progression of these storms as we continue on here in time. Notice by about 9:45, 10 p.m., this batch is now moving through and east of San Antonio, but still for places like San Marcos, New Braunfels, near Pleasanton, Floresville, Lavernia, dealing with some of that heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds. These likely are going to be noisy. Not every storm is going to be severe, but do expect some lightning, do expect some thunder. So that's just something to think about, especially if the dogs get spooked. I know mine does, or even the kids heading to bed early. They'll likely be noisy in spots. By 11 p.m., this is now at least the first batch is now moving out of Bexar County, but Gonzales, Karnes City, Kennedy, even over to Cuero, dealing with some of that heavy rain and storm activity. It's going to continue to work its way eastward, but in between about midnight to 2 a.m., remember those storms that Adam was just checking out closer to the San Angelo Junction area? That's that second batch that we could see develop a little bit farther south. And if that happens and that materializes, yes, we could see another round of some scattered rain and a couple of thunderstorms work their way through the San Antonio area as of right now, in between about midnight to 2 a.m. That's when we'll be monitoring for that potential. But notice as we continue to advance this on in time, 3, 4 a.m., this is now working east of San Antonio. I think by about 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning, we could see a few lingering showers and storms across our far eastern counties near Hallettsville as well as Cuero, but that's going to continue working out of our region and closer to the Houston area by sunrise tomorrow morning. So that is also good news, is that if you're stepping out tomorrow morning, maybe you're headed downtown to Milam Park or even near Houston Street for the Western Days Heritage Parade, Cattle Drive, we're going to see skies clear tomorrow. It will be breezy, but the rain is going to be shifting out of our area. But the big thing this weekend is going to be the winds, even some elevated fire danger possible, especially closer to the Rio Grande on Sunday, with gusts upwards of about 40 to even 50 miles per hour possible there as well. How's the radar looking, Adam?
Radar's looking pretty much the same. I'm going to switch back over to it. Marty, if you don't mind adjusting the camera for my height, my setting, my preset. That's one thing we have to wait for, folks, is the cameras to shift. Otherwise, it looks really funny, especially when
housekeeping, especially
when Sarah Spivey follows Justin Horn.
Oh, absolutely.
And you've got 6'4" Justin Horn and then shorter Sarah Spivey. She looks like this on the screen. So that's why we have to step off and modify things a bit. This is what we have with the severe thunderstorm. That's up. We've been talking about it continuously. Kendall County, Comal County, and that's moving eastward. Put this into motion. Not a huge lightning storm with this, not a big lightning display. I mean, you tilt it here and see those vertical lightning strikes, those white lines. Those indicate the cloud to ground lightning strikes. Not a whole lot of them, to be honest with you. And to prove it, we can actually count them. All of them within this entire screen. We've got a total of 14 strikes. That's not much, especially for a severe situation. Nonetheless, wind is the primary threat, so disregard the lightning, and the wind's the threat up here just north of San Antonio. We'll zoom in on San Antonio and some of the neighborhoods and how heavy it's raining in a moment, but I want to get back to this storm that's got the severe potential winds, the potentially severe winds with it, and it's moving east very quickly. All right, that's making it Bulverde. We've been talking about this, 8:31 p.m. Smithson Valley High School at 8:41. Smithson Valley Middle School at 8:42. Canyon Lake, we're talking 8:52 p.m. Martindale at 9:29. San Marcos even at 9:21. Those are that's the timing of that. If you're up in Wimberley and you're watching us in Wimberley, it does look like it's falling apart a little bit, but 9 o'clock is when you can expect it in your neck of the woods. And we need to switch back to just the base velocities here and notice that, come on. Interesting. Well, anyway, we'll switch back to the base velocities and we'll see that we'll have the biggest cluster right there.
Do you need me to do that for you, Adam?
No, I got it. There we go. Think so. Yep. And the biggest cluster of where we have the highest winds is in this blue area. That's moving into Bergheim. Bulverde, you're about to get clipped by it. Timberwood Park, you're going to have some gusty winds here. Not necessarily the severe strength of 58 miles per hour or greater, but still very noticeable. And even Stone Oak, you're about to get clipped by some of that. But the main batch stretches now from Sisterdale to Bergheim. That's where we have the main area of wind with it within this, and especially right along this leading edge, that green line. That's pushing eastward. The reason we have these blue colors is just to indicate higher wind speeds. That's all it is for the wind detector within authority radar. See, we're looking at over 1,000 feet high and wind gusts, or the winds are up to 65, 67 miles per hour. Sometimes some of those winds can get pushed downward and make it to the ground. So that's why we have the severe thunderstorms to the north. Locally, we don't have severe thunderstorms in San Antonio. Not at the moment. This is just actually heavy rain, but good soaking, drought denting rain. This is the kind of rain we want to see around here, and we could use more of. We put a big dent in the drought over the past few weeks, and we're going to, I think, put another dent in the drought here. Look how this all comes together over the past hour. It congeals right over San Antonio. This is good. It's good for our aquifer, good to put a dent in the drought situation. It's going to be loud out there, and like Mia was saying, if your pets get spooked, anticipate a bit of that, even the kids. I know it's going to be nearing bedtime here for some kids, especially the youngest ones, and just anticipate the chance that they could be woken up or just be a little scared because of the rumbles outside. But in San Antonio, you're safe. We don't have anything severe to talk about, which means we don't have anything that's really damaging. This is heavy rain. It's loud outside, but right now it's not anything you need to worry about in terms of your roof or your car or even losing power due to wind. That's unlikely. If we have power outages, it's probably because of lightning. Now, of course, that can change as these storms come together. That can change, but as it stands right now, this is all just good, necessary rain that we have here in town. And zooming in on the neighborhoods, we'll start up north. Heaviest rain with a bit of wind, of course, too. Timberwood Park, you see these purples, heavy rain, maybe even a little bit of very small hail, pea-size hail that's moving through the northern portion of Timberwood Park at the moment. Then we head southward, Stone Oak. Yeah, some light rain, get ready. It's about to get a lot heavier in Stone Oak. If you live near Johnson High School, here you have it, 8:36 p.m. is when the heavy rain's going to hit. Around Reagan High School, Hollywood Park, all the way down 281, Churchill High School, over to Clark High School, some moderate rain, but a little break at UTSA in the rim. That's going to be changing momentarily because this area of heavy rain, that is headed eastward, and that's flying eastward. And really, we're seeing some building from the south as well. But this isn't strong or severe. This is just heavy rainfall, which is mostly going to be problematic on the roadways or where we have any clogged or poor drainage from even the previous rainfall days ago that we had earlier last week. Luckily, we had a span of sunshine in between to help the ground soak in that rain. But right now, because we had that break, we're not seeing the flash flooding, at least not yet. It's going to take more of the rain, more of this kind of rain to really get that flash flooding threat going. We were talking Alamo Ranch earlier. Let's go back over to Alamo Ranch and pause this. And right now there's a little bit of a break, but it's about to pick up. So as this has been going, same thing where it comes in waves, comes and goes, picks up, lets up, picks up, lets up, and you get a few rumbles of thunder and some lightning strikes in between. Then we head down toward Lackland Air Force Base, some heavy rainfall there, especially along I-35. As you cross I-35 and go toward Palo Alto College, little bits of small hail could be suspended in here within this thunderstorm. This is probably just heavy rain, these purples, just south of 410 and 1604 there. Or 410, I should say, not 1604, just between 410 and 1604, and then stretching up into the southeast side of town, right along 410, Harlandale High School, over to Mission San Jose. Very heavy rainfall and possibly small hail embedded within this where you see the purples. So this is the neighborhood look at what we have going on. We're going to go a little bit farther to the north, get downtown. We heard the heavy rain just a little bit ago outside of KSAT. We're not far from the Pearl. We're just south of the Pearl. And now we're seeing some lighter rain, but this will just continue to come and go, light, heavy, break, light, heavy. And that's been the pattern with it. Here's the big picture again, so you can familiarize with what has been happening and the progression of it. And this is good soaking rain for the most part in San Antonio and surrounding areas. Good for the aquifer. It needs that drink. But the severe thunderstorm warning has been extended eastward into McMullen County. So LaSalle County seeing the activity right now, and it's McMullen County that's up next. This is stretching from Cotulla, Fowlerton. You're not far away from this. Fowlerton and then Tilden, even the small city of Los Angeles in between. Been through Los Angeles, Texas, have you? The population's very small, but it exists, McMullen County. And then, so at 8:49 Fowlerton, Tilden, 9:11 p.m. If you're in or near Cross, that'll be at 9:14 p.m. So this is a severe thunderstorm that probably has some hail with it. This is one that's a hail maker. It's in a pretty rural part of our area, but do note, this is likely a hail maker there that's just moving east of Cotulla between I-35 and I-37. And you've got Choke Canyon here, of course, right on the edge of that warning.
I was just going to say that. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, let's give it a time for Choke Canyon.
We never want the severe weather, but hey,
No.
at least some rain.
Exactly. 921. It's a good crappie lake, isn't it? I think it's a good crappie lake. I've never fished it. I'd mostly just go to the coast if I'm that far. But anyway, I enjoy catching good crappie too. Big fat crappie. Anyway, let's go back around San Antonio. Let's focus on weather. I could be sidetracked very easily. And here we have it, pushing on through. That's just good soaking rain. It's the heaviest action right now, right here on this Boeing segment. And that is where we have the highest winds within this storm, just north of Bulverde. I know Bulverde, you're getting clipped by these high winds, but now starting to move to creep their way into Smithson Valley. Spring Branch, you're right on the doorstep. It's through Bergheim, just about through Bergheim. Candelia, Twin Sisters, Canyon Lake, not very far away from these wind gusts. And Canyon Lake about 8:47 p.m. in Canyon Lake is when you can expect the leading edge of that wind, and that's probably the strongest part of it. The initial push is what you typically notice the most within these Boeing segments. And I am going to switch this around, and we're going to get a different vantage point. I'm going to turn off a few of these other distracting things that we have on the screen, and we'll just go with some basics, okay? First of all, any storm reports out there. I know we had one earlier off to the west. This was with the hail. That was around Brackettville. 1.3 inch hail, so that's over the size, that's bigger than the size of a quarter from that supercell that popped up there. Now, what I want to do is get more of a 3D look in and around our area and to show you the lack of really vertical structure within these. And Mia, you were commenting, we were talking about this earlier in the Weather Center, weren't we?
We were.
Yes. Here we go. So these aren't the tallest thunderstorms out there. They're not, compared to the rowdiest thunderstorms that we can get.
Which is one of the reasons why here in San Antonio, we're not dealing with a ton of large hail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. The taller the storm, the higher the hail potential you have. And depending on the shear, the twist in the wind within there and the twisting of your updraft, those are all factors that can contribute to large hail. We don't have the height, or is it height? I don't know. We don't have the vertical feet.
There you go. There you go.
We don't have it to generate the hail. I'm going to get this off this, get rid of this so it doesn't distract you. But you see the height markers on the upper left-hand side of your screen, and these aren't the type that are really stretching up 50, 60,000 feet right now. These are lower topped thunderstorms, and that's a good thing when it comes to the hail potential in terms of mitigating the hail threat, at least as they are right now. That's the way it is. What do we always say? It can change quickly. We've all been in those situations. We've seen those situations. You experienced one up when you were living and working in College Station.
Oh, yes.
With that hailstorm that looked like it was just cycling down and then pulsed back up.
It's amazing how quickly these storms can recycle. It really is.
Yep. So this is that 3D view. That's one reason we like to check these, is to see, oh, hey, maybe this part of the storm is getting a little bit taller or a little more impressive looking. But right now, I think we're looking good in terms of a lack of hail around town. Of course, that can change, but if there's a threat, it's primarily a wind threat for the gusty thunderstorm winds. And that's right along the leading edge here. I'll get right into the leading edge of the 3D view and try to get you a better vantage point. So you see the front of that thunderstorm right there. This is the front of the thunderstorm. And that's what's headed into Smithson Valley as we speak. Coming back out, we're going to go back to our basic view that we're all familiar with rather than complicate it too much. There we go. That's why we have a home screen. All right. And that's boom. Don't want to get caught off guard, so you got to have everything else turned on, including that and that eventually. Okay. Finally. We have those two warnings we were talking about, one far south, LaSalle, McMullen County, Tilden, Fowlerton. You're in the line of those storms. Pleasanton, parts of Atascosa County, just east now of I-37 getting hit. And then we get into Wilson County and the thunderstorm. And this, you see over the past hour, that developing a bit. It's headed toward 181. It's going to hit between Floresville. It's going to hit from Floresville to Poth, all the way down to Kennedy, right along 181. It's moving pretty quickly, though. As for overall rainfall thus far, I always like to check that because, we need the rain and it's good to have. We'll take a look at our rainfall totals. And of course, 12-hour totals is all we really need. But look at where most of the rain has fallen. We can switch radars to look off to the west. We have to stay with this radar within this view. And the green areas indicate at least a ½ inch of rain. The darker green is an inch of rain. Once you get into the yellows, that's 2 inches or more. But it's been a little streaky up here northwest Bexar County, where the heaviest storm was, where the strongest storm, that severe storm we were talking about, and where it originated, Bandera, Kerr, Kendall. That's where we've had the strongest rain. That's also where we have the worst drought right now. That's where we have the worst drought in the area. So this is good. It's good to see that swath. And okay, you're wondering how much has fallen. I'll get to that. Here we go. I'll get to that. We can sample. Around Bernie, about 0.4 inches. You get up closer to Comfort, talking 0.6. Bandera, Cowboy Capital, 0.7. Pipe Creek, 0.6. So yeah, the greens, a ½ inch or more on the screen. We don't have any yellows. Once the yellows come up, then we know it's 2 inches or more of rain. But right now, it's the wind threat in Comal County, moving through Smithson Valley, about to hit Canyon Lake, and then Startsville as well. Sattler, you're not far away. Sattler, you've got a history of high winds. This isn't that far away from you. Sattler, I can time it out. Sattler, I say that from previous seasons. Last year, when you had some high winds, and even a little touchdown. So that was 8:56 p.m. is the time you can expect it to arrive in Sattler. And on this leading edge, the heaviest wind, as we've been talking about, maybe even some small hail where we have these purples. The purple's just east of 281, south of 46. Yeah, Stall Lane. So this is east of 281, Bulverde area, Stony Ridge Road, Alvin's Way, Comal Run, Comal Crest. That neighborhood, if you live there or you've been through there a lot, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is just between 281 and Smithson Valley High School. That's where we could have a little bit of hail within this storm, some of the hail, but likely not the damaging size hail yet, at least. Likely not the damaging size. All right, I'm going to step off for a sec. Mia, do you want to take over and hit up everything else and we can re-queue?
Absolutely. So I just have a couple of reports here. My mom actually over in Floresville saying that the thunder and lightning certainly is there with that little batch of thunderstorms that Adam was just talking about. More reports here on our YouTube chat. Thunder at Taft High School. Someone was asking about Shirts as well. So Shirts, you've got some moderate rain just off to your south, some light rain right there near I-35. But as Adam was also mentioning a little bit earlier, you know, we've got kind of these different batches of light rain, then moderate rain, then heavy rain. It's kind of scattered across Bexar County. So you'll continue to see those shifts in the rain rates here over the next hour as this batch continues to work its way eastward through San Antonio.
We're picking up a little bit of lightning on our city cam that's looking off to the northwest.
Okay.
Not a lot. I mean, if we switch to it, of course we won't get any.
Yeah, well, and I was also looking at some of the TransGuide shots as well, just around town, and it was showing more of the same. We just had some of the lightning in and around the area. Not crazy, but definitely some out there, and of course the damp roadways there too. So here we go. I think our camera shot now is set to my height. So there we go. All right. Now we'll get rocking and rolling. So here's the latest here in San Antonio. Again, we just have some batches of light, moderate, heavy rain. We've got kind of two bands of some of that heavier rain. This band off to the southeast, that stretches off to the south there as well, right along 410, San Jose, Palo Alto, even near Mitchell Lake, Monorme, down I-35. Plenty of heavy rain up that way. That's closing in on the China Grove area, Martinez, Kirby. Here's I-10 on the far east side too. Plenty of heavy rain there. Right here in downtown, getting a little bit of a break. Got some light rain there. Wind crests, more of the same. But then this second band of heavier rain on the northwest side. So Helotes, you're seeing some of the heavy rain there as well. Gray Forest, San Geronimo, most of that is now moving east of your area. But we were talking about the lightning strikes. Here we go, even into far eastern Medina County there. Some lightning noted. Far western Bexar County and eastern Medina County near Rio Medina there too. I do want to take another look here at our wind gusts. We'll kind of zoom this out. I want to get you a big picture and then we'll reset and then we'll talk individually once again about these two severe thunderstorm warnings that we have in place. The first one north of San Antonio. Again, if you're joining us from San Antonio, we do not have any severe storms in Bexar County, but they are likely producing some gusty winds out there. But we have this severe thunderstorm that's north of town and then another one well off to our south near Cotulla. This particular one that you can see north of Bexar County, this is mainly a Comal County, even southern Blanco County there as well. This is mainly for winds. We've been talking about the potential for upwards of about 60 miles per hour wind gusts. We actually have some eyes on the ground in Kendall County when this storm was passing through the Bernie area, and they were saying that they did see some wind gusts right around that 60 mile per hour mark. So we're going to switch this over here We can get this to work. There we go, to the base velocity. And once again, this very distinct line that you see moving through Smithson Valley as we speak, right across 281, this bowing out segment, that is where we typically see some of the gustier winds that are focused there. And really, also as we were talking about earlier, this color, see if I can, there we go, where we have the brighter colors. So right along 281, near Smithson Valley, just to the west of Smithson Valley, north of Bulverde. Bulverde, you're still seeing some of those gustier winds too. This is where, see if we can get a sample, right along 281, our radar is still estimating a little bit higher up in the sky, upwards of 55 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So we could see some of that once again filter down closer to the ground, which is why this severe thunderstorm warning is still in place. So Bear Creek Hills, you are about to see those very strong winds move into your area next. Canyon Lake, Startsville, Sattler, very close as well.
And we do have a storm report that came in from earlier, around 7:45 in Bandera from this storm. We're talking about of report of tree down, which is blocking a street in Bandera.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. Thank you for that. Okay, so now what we can do, let's see if we can get this ETA to work as well. See how it's working its way farther eastward. So we'll put a little time track on here. Green near New Braunfels, closer to the top of the 9 o'clock hour. So we've got about 14 minutes until this is pretty much in your front door, New Braunfels. A little bit earlier by a couple minutes, also closer to about 9 p.m. And you can see the far southern edge of this, not nearly as strong. Again, Bexar County, we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings in place, but you are still going to get clipped by some of these gustier winds near Garden Ridge, Selma, right along I-35 there. That's where we could see. Let's take a sample down there as well. Right there. See, winds are not nearly as strong.
Oh, yeah, those latest scans are a little more favorable for lower winds.
Yep,
right?
so
it's
maybe
good.
seeing this cycle down just a little bit in terms of those wind speeds, but still gusty, upwards of about 30 to 35 there, a little bit closer to the Garden Ridge and Bracken area. All right, so that'll take care of the winds for that little update. There we go. Again, heavy rain, some thunder moving through San Antonio. Few gusty winds, not nearly as strong as what we were just sampling there closer to the Canyon Lake area. But we do have now this batch of also heavy rain now crossing over I-35. So now this is east of I-35. So Pearsall, you've already seen the worst of it. It has passed through your area. Same for Dilley, Devine. That's good news, but now up next, Poteet, Pleasanton, Jourdanton, Charlotte, starting to see some of that moderate rain there as well. So again, this is not severe here, but it is definitely heavy rain and likely a bit noisy. We've got the lightning strikes noted there on your authority radar as well. So I'm going to do also, now we'll get a little track for this part of the storm. So Poteet closing in on your area by about 9:10. Pleasanton, right along the 281 and I-37 corridor by about 9:15. Jourdanton, pretty similar. And Charlotte, this is on your doorstep. So,
right. And can you, sorry, I'm getting my thoughts together. Can you please go up to Timberwood Park, and then I've got something to share with you.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So just, take it up there.
We'll take a little mosey on over here to Timberwood Park on the north side.
Yeah, and then we'll put it into motion, and you'll see the heavy rain that moved through, and
let's do this. All right, yep, there it is.
There we go. So then, Marty 46, every time.
All the time.
Hold on.
Stand by.
Standing by. Technical difficulties here. We're going to get it. We have a KSAT Connect post. Sometimes our AirPlay, loses connection.
We need to connect it again.
Yeah, and so it's just, it's a Wi-Fi issue. Whatever.
Yep.
There we go. Now we're back on. And we should be back at it. All right.
Loading.
Got the loading wheel.
Loading.
There we go. Okay. There you go. That's what it looks like. So that's coming down.
It is.
That'll be a good half inch or so, maybe even more, when we'll look at those, radar estimates in a little bit. I like your wind chimes, Marty 46.
Thank you, Marty, for sending that in. Again, it's always so helpful when we have these KSAT Connect photo and videos to really see what is actually happening. The radar does a really good job of estimating conditions out there, but it is so wonderful to see KSAT Connect photos taken safely, of course.
And I will say, the trees aren't shaking. That's
right.
good. It's really just the heavy rain. I'm not seeing any signs of hail bouncing off anything, so that's promising.
That's what we like to see.
And you still have your Christmas lights up. I love it.
Still have the Christmas lights. Very festive. Yep. All right. So thank you again for sending that in from the Timberwood Park area. And by the way, Timberwood Park, you've got a little bit of heavy rain off to your south, but again, the worst of those gusty winds has now moved through well off to your east. So things are looking a little bit better where you are. But as we work our way farther south, right along 1604, Hollywood Park, stretching up 281, Stone Oak as well, seeing some of that heavy rain there. UTSA, Chavano Park, Clark High School, seeing some of that heavy rain as well. I'm going to go ahead and pause this so it's not too distracting for us. Brandeis High School, Helotes, Gray Forest. Looks like we got another scan here. It's just progressing eastward as it continues to move through Bexar County. Taft High School, we had some viewers on our YouTube live stream that were chiming in from this area out on the west side saying definitely thunder, definitely lightning, and of course the heavy rain there as well. And as Adam was talking about also, where we have some of these embedded purples, maybe a little bit of small non-damaging hail suspended within the thunderstorm. But the good news is with this activity, at least moving through San Antonio proper, really not much of a hail threat. Yes, we have some gusty winds, not severe here in Bexar County. This is just that drought denting rain that we have in place. Yes, Adam.
As one of our YouTube viewers says, sitting here watching TV, it's pretty to listen to. And that's what it is. I know it will spook some folks, especially some kids and pets, but some of us love listening to rain like this, especially on a Friday night when it's not severe or problematic. But then, another viewer up in Anhalt, wind still high here. That was, several minutes ago. Wind still high up there in Anhalt, where we have that wind threat with this storm.
Exactly, where that bowing out segment has been. But great reports, y'all. Thank you so much for that. So yes, drought denting rain as this continues to move through San Antonio. A little noisy. Checking in on our friends here in Wilson County, Floresville, Poth. Now right along 181 in between Poth and Fall City. That's where the heaviest rain is now crossing over the 181 corridor. DeWeese, right out in between. We've got some more heavy rain and some lightning strikes there near Fairview. So Sestahova, Pavelicksville, that's closer to Karn City. Helena there too.
I will point out, it takes a native to know DeWeese, just like that. Bam, bam.
In Sestahova and Kosciuszko.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All those Polish communities.
Polish capital of Kennedy and, of Karnes County and Wilson County, Panna Maria, all those places. Yes, have spent many a time at the Kosciuszko Hall down there. So yes, you can see this is non-severe as well, but the heavy rain, lightning, thunder passing over 181, that's going to move closer to Yorktown, even Cuero on the south side of that activity there too. So that was all the first batch that moved through Pleasanton and Jourdanton a bit earlier this hour. Here's the latest though on that second severe thunderstorm that we still have in place. This is McMullen County, so this is just west of Choke Canyon. This is what's crossed over I-35 in between Dilley and Cotulla. Adam, did we see any KSAT Connect photos or anything from this severe thunderstorm? I haven't seen any so far today.
No.
But this is the one severe thunderstorm besides the one that we had earlier in Bracketville that is capable of producing a little bit of hail, up to about quarter size, certainly possible. That's why this severe thunderstorm warning is in place. Now near Zella, Fowlerton, right along, I believe that says 72 right there. So quarter size hail possible in the far southern edge of this storm. Also some wind gusts upwards of about 50 to 60 miles per hour. But we'll put another timeline for places like Cross and Tilden out there in McMullen County. Let's do this for you. Okay, so about Cross, right around 9:14 p.m. is when we could see kind of the leading edge of some of that heavier rain and potential quarter-size hail there, move closer to you. Tilden by about 9:10 to 9:11. Hearing a few lightning or rumbles of thunder here at KSAT there as well. So again, we don't like the severe weather. We never want that. But heavy rain associated with that too, and that's going to be moving closer to the Choke Canyon area and eventually Three Rivers, depending on how well that holds together. So again, that's the latest on that severe thunderstorm that is well off to our south. It really is now moving out of LaSalle County, so this is probably going to get trimmed back pretty quickly here and now moving through northern McMullen County. But that's the only warning we have in place for hail. And honestly, I'm just looking at these reflectivity values here on the radar. I mean, it is looking like this storm is improving a little bit. It's kind of weakening on the far north side here. This severe thunderstorm warning that was in place for winds. Canyon Lake, Smithson Valley, now the worst of it is pushed through your area. It's moved farther east. Canyon Lake, though, you're about to see some of that heavier rain move through. What we can do is we can take another look here at the base velocity. Let's see if any of these values have improved at all. Still seeing that brighter color right around Spring Branch, just north of Smithson Valley. Let's sample this and see if anything's changed or not. So still upwards of about 55 to 60 miles per hour being estimated. But Startsville, right in between Startsville and Canyon Lake, that's where we have that definitive line of these strong winds that are headed your direction. But in terms of the rain, you know, Smithson Valley, most of that heavy rain is well east of you, but you still are dealing with some of the gusty winds right about now as well. Anhalt also, what Adam was mentioning earlier, right there. A lot of those stronger winds, though, have now improved also well east of you.
Yeah, luckily we're seeing that trend.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of what we watch is the trends.
Exactly.
And the trend in this one is promising.
Starting to come down a little bit. So again, we'll keep eyes on that because also these storms can cycle a little bit. So not finished with it just yet. But again, if you're just joining us here in San Antonio because you were hearing the thunder outside, or maybe you are just relaxing on the couch to some of the rain. Yes, Adam.
Quick question. Will that severe storm with the bow hit Round Rock?
Hit Round Rock.
We're talking up near Austin.
Yeah, closer to the Austin area. So also, you know, we have another batch of rain well off to our northwest right now, which is what we're going to keep eyes on for maybe the midnight to 2 a.m. time frame, depending on how far south some of that can develop. That also is going to be moving closer to I-35 later on tonight. Here's Round Rock right here. The severe thunderstorm warning is south of you. This is non-severe closer to Llano and Marble Falls, but there is another little storm right there, but it's not severe.
Yeah, right now I would say if you're in Round Rock watching us, I wouldn't worry about that.
No, I really wouldn't
right
either, especially because of how this storm has been trending anyways, and even with the projection of it, you know, I wouldn't really worry about it right now either. But here's more garden variety storms. What was closer to Luling Gonzales, now closer to Smithville, LaGrange. Let's move through the Bastrop area there too. But you can see, here we go, just moving in from the west and pushing farther eastward. No severe thunderstorm warnings here in San Antonio, but it is probably waking a couple of pets up with that thunder out there too. More of the rain trying to fill in right along the Highway 181 corridor.
I think we'll get a good inch of rain in many neighborhoods from this because it's pretty persistent and it's heavy in nature. It's not just moving in and moving out and do a quick splash and dash. This is a splash and sit, and I think that's going to help out.
Absolutely.
Help out in the overall accumulations.
Absolutely. And that's another thing, you know, and I can actually show that. The drought monitor really quickly.
It's up there, yep.
Because we did see some improvements again. So we had the one that was released last Thursday, not just this Thursday that we saw yesterday, but last week. And we did see some improvements. Let me turn lightning off here so that we can just look at the drought monitor. And we did see some improvements, but it didn't include all of the rain that we saw last week. The update that we got in yesterday did, and we did see additional improvements. You can see extreme drought no longer in Bexar County. We saw even more improvements east of I-35 and down to the coastal plains, but this red color near Bernie, Sisterdale, Kerrville, Medina, even near Medina Lake, northern Medina County there, we do still have extreme drought in place. So we like to see more rain. And thankfully, some of these areas did pick up the rain today to at least help chip away at that a little bit more so.
It's a good vantage point right there. Good perspective.
Yeah, I think so. Especially, just up into the hill country. That's still where we definitely need a little bit more rain out there, too.
We'll take a little tour of some of our rainfall totals here for a little bit. And, let me reconnect that. All right. Claudia, I almost called you Marty,
and
Claudia together. Marty, Claudia. If you don't mind switching the camera around again, and then we'll get into the back edge of this batch. This is that first wave that we're expecting, and then another wave with the tail end of that action we were showing you earlier that's closing in on Junction. We could get clipped by some of that and even some straggler showers that develop on the back edge of this. So we'll switch over from the drought monitor to, this will be good, it'll give representation. This is, here, I'm gonna outline it, okay?
Oh, yep.
Let's outline it. So this is where we have the worst drought. This is the extreme drought, which is actually better than it was just a few months ago, and especially a few weeks ago. So the generalized area of where we need the rain the most, and then we look at our rainfall totals and come up on those. And look at that. Within this area that we drew, from Blanco to Comfort to Kerrville to Medina to Bandera, within this area, we have a good ½ inch of rain in much of that area. Hopefully that'll help out the Guadalupe a little bit as well, which its flow has slowly picked up a little bit, but we could use more. As for San Antonio, see two swaths, one on the south side. This is just outside of Lackland. This is right parallel to and south of I-35, where we have already picked up accumulations here of over ½ inch. In some instances, here we go, near Garza Crossing, 1 inch closer to there, but right on 410 near Palo Alto College, 0.8. Harlandale High School, 1.1. So that's good to see, that's promising. But then lesser amounts right as you get, there's this little gap near Lackland, and then it picks up again. Here you go, Alamo Ranch, we were talking about you earlier. Here you are again, Taft High School. Right around Taft High School, we'll look at the rainfall totals. On the campus, 0.8 inches. All around it, even just over an inch in some of the neighborhoods in and around in some of the communities and streets around Alamo Ranch. So that's promising to see. Very promising to see. ½ inch to an inch accumulations within some of these heaviest thunderstorms and the heaviest downpours. Out near the rim, and this is a big construction zone right now, which, oh, we just got another update here. I like seeing those updates. See these darker greens indicates higher rainfall totals. UTSA area, 1 inch. Leon Creek, of course, running through there. Not going to be good biking on the trails tomorrow. If you plan on hitting those off-road trails, mountain biking on the Leon Creek, not going to be good because, of course, it's going to be muddy and very sticky and you can tear up the trails. But anyway, around the rim, 1.5 inches. You go eastward into Stone Oak. Lesser amount so far, but it's still raining at about ½ an inch. So we like to see this, despite, the one severe batch and even a little bit of damage reported in city of Bandera from a tree down. At least we are seeing some good rainfall totals out of it. I will turn the warnings back on so nothing can get away from us, but that's the last remaining warning. That's north of New Braunfels. So I want to point out does not include New Braunfels. New Braunfels, it's loud outside and it may seem like it's bad, but it's not severe. Severe is a different criteria. Whenever you hear us say severe, that implies hail 1 inch diameter or bigger, so the size of quarters, which can cause damage, and or winds of 58 miles per hour or greater. So that's what we mean when we say severe. Yeah, loud and sometimes a little scary or bad, but severe is its own little category, just to clarify our verbiage and language here. The backside of that heavy batch is basically moving through Smithson Valley, and then it's just really light rain on the back. But we also have the backside of this that is now moving into western Bexar County. Alamo Ranch and the far west side, 1604 and Highway 90. There's the back end is almost to your neighborhood. Then you'll get a break, dry out for maybe an hour or two, and then you could get another scattered batch of thunderstorms or a broken line moving in from the west. But I want to time out this back end of the heavy rain so you know when it's going to actually end and be over with. So let's do that line right there. So these are ending times. Often we show you when it's going to hit. Well, this is when it's going to start to come to an end. And SeaWorld at 9:14 p.m., The Rim 9:19 p.m., Holmes High School 9:21, and Ingram Park Mall at 9:21 as well. That's the backside of it when it's going to end. We can go even farther down the line and head over to, not the warning, but head over to, say, Shirts. The back edge, making it to Shirts. Cousin Sally, 9:57 p.m. So wait, no, I mean that, my cousin Sally, right? 9:57 p.m., she's in Shirts. That's what it'll be, your neck of the woods. And that's when it's going to be gone. That's when it's leaving. Most of the lightning is down near Poteet. You got the strawberry capital down here. Poteet, Pleasanton, Jourdanton. This is lit up, and there could be a little bit of hail. We have this cluster of lightning, a little more convection in here, a little more lift, and a chance of a little pocket of hail. And last week with one of the storms, you had some pretty sizable hail from Bigfoot into northwestern Atascosa County. This is nothing like that. So I know you're very sensitive to hail here from Frio County eastward into Atascosa County, but this is nothing like what we had with that thunderstorm last week where you had the big baseball-sized damaging hail. Nope, not at all. 181, we were talking about it, up and down 181. The storms just keep coming and going. You're having a batch move through Floresville, Poth, and then you'll get another batch that's on the way. So the one batch is already almost cleared 181, but then we have this next batch, which would make it to Floresville by 9:43, and we have to watch that Boeing segment there. Could make it to Kennedy by 10:09 p.m. That section we're watching, that's near Choke Canyon Reservoir. Otherwise, the high winds that we still have the warning on in northern Comal County. It looks like for Canyon Lake, your threat is just about done. Fisher, your main threat, is pretty much passed by now, because the strongest winds were closer to the Canyon Lake area and points southward down toward Bulverde. But even some gusty winds up here headed toward Dripping Springs. City of Blanco, you're still in the warning, but the worst of the storm has passed the city of Blanco and pretty much all of 281 now. The worst of that storm has passed. It's now moving into Dripping Springs and Wimberley. And this is a part of our area that needs the rain badly as well. They really need that rainfall. So I know we don't like it to come at a cost. However, we do like to see the rain. Yes?
They're letting the severe thunderstorm warning for Comal County expire.
Good, that's great news. So that's going to be allowed to expire. Then we can just take in this good soaking rain and enjoy it as just a pitter patter on the roof and know that it's filling up the aquifer and putting a nice dent in our drought. That's always good to see. And keep in mind, we're going to have total sunshine. By tomorrow morning, nothing but sun right off the bat. So we have this batch moving through, ending around 10 o'clock for San Antonio. A little bit of a break, and then we'll watch for some isolated development thereafter that could hit us around midnight and all the way through 3 a.m. We still have a threat from midnight to 3 a.m. So that's what we'll be watching next. But right now, luckily, nothing severe locally, just this one storm nearing Choke Canyon that still has a severe element to it. And in southern Atascosa County, we'll keep watching this from Charlotte southward to almost to Choke Canyon there. We'll be watching that little segment that may bow out a little bit as it heads toward I-37. But otherwise, this is just good, healthy, beneficial rain. Decent amount of lightning and thunder. Lightning, good for the nitrogen cycle in the soil. It's always good to have the lightning. But otherwise, I tell you what we'll do. We're going to keep the radar up.
Great idea.
We'll keep a live stream of the radar. And, periodically we'll be zooming around so you can keep an eye on it. But for now, we'll take a break and reassess the situation and also start prepping for the night beat to figure out our latest analysis and whatnot and have that there. So thanks for joining us.